Hey there, my gorgeous, darling, beautiful, wonderful queen bees. It is your girl Amanda, the Buzzed Artist. Welcome back to my channel, a place where you can just let loose and just have fun with your art. Today I just really wanted to have a talk, a little chat if you will, while I'm doing some concept drawings for a video that I have coming up where we're making Christmas ornaments. This is just going to be a really chill little conversation we're going to have together concerning a subject that is really near and dear to my heart. And that is the subject of knowing your worth as an artist and how to overcome fear of failure in your art and overcoming negative feedback. So sit back, grab a coffee, and let's get to chatting. Now, a lot of artists encounter an intrinsic fear of failure. It's totally normal. And sometimes this fear is driven by a core, deep-seated sentiment, which is my art, and thus myself, are just not good enough. These feelings of unworthiness are common amongst both new and experienced creatives. They feel their art is bad and that no one would even care to consider it seriously. And what I have seen happen in some cases is a fledgling artist succumbing to their feelings of inadequacy, putting away their canvas and brushes, and never daring to touch art ever again. And it's kind of a shame and really sad to see that happen, but it happens to a lot of artists and a lot of creative people. Now, I would be lying if I said I never experienced feelings of unworthiness. Actually, the opposite is quite true. I have personally felt this way about my art many, many, many times. Even in all my years of creating, I still feel that self-doubt and battle big bouts of imposter syndrome. And you'll remember I did a video about imposter syndrome, and I'll link that in the description below. But despite these feelings, I still keep going and create more art. And I really do it despite those emotions. Now, of course, I want to go touch on the idea of understanding why what we do as artists and what we do with our art is good enough. Art is a learning process. What we often see as the art masterpieces in galleries and museums is an artist's magnum opus, a culmination of their years of botched paintings, hacked drawings, sleepless nights, self-loathing, and whiskey-induced tantrums. We don't see any of the half-baked sketches or the horribly painted canvas. We only see the good stuff. And that is important to remember. We often fall into the trap of feeling not good enough when we start comparing ourselves and our work to others. We see someone's years and years and years of art experience on canvas and conclude that our experience, and therefore our art, is unworthy of notice. And if I may inject some tough love here, that notion is just utterly ridiculous, but you would be surprised at how many people I have spoken to that believe this about themselves. Comparing your work to that of Monet, Banksy, Da Vinci, or Picasso is kind of like comparing apples to oranges. Every person's creative journey is different, and thus their art and progress will be different. So be forgiving and understand that you are in the learning process. It's okay and perfectly normal to make mistakes and to create art that you absolutely hate. I'm not going to deny that you should love every one of your paintings or every one of your creations, because that would just be silly. You don't have to. You don't have to always have this kind of peaceful existence with your art. Sometimes you can absolutely freaking hate it. And that's okay. As much as you need to love yourself in the process, you also want to have a positive mindset. Just remember that you need to love yourself and be forgiving to yourself in this process. And as much as I like to talk about needing to love yourself in the process, you also want to have a positive mindset towards continuous improvement for your art. You want your art to get better, so practice, learn the fundamentals, go back to basics, do everything you need to do to cast that annoying little voice of self-doubt out. And of course, if I can just do a little quick plug here, I actually have a mini course all about getting started with acrylic painting. If you ever were interested in doing acrylic painting or wanting to get your feet wet more into the medium, be sure to sign up for my free class. You can look for that link in the description below. Now, another part of why artists kind of struggle with the fear of failure is the outside influences, the negative voices that keep coming at them. And the best way to combat these negative voices, as hard as it sounds, is to ignore it. Now, the subject of this negativity from external forces, I mean, we already are dealing as artists with a lot of negative internal voices that we put on ourselves on our own work. But the external ones are the ones that I feel are also very powerful in making or breaking somebody. And it's a very sore subject for me because As a creator here on YouTube, where my art is on public display for the world to see and comment on, I encounter lots of feedback. You as my subscribers and the YouTube community as a whole is and has always been absolutely wonderful to me. And a majority of my subscribers are loving, supportive, grateful creatives who look to my work to get inspired. And I just wanted to take a quick note and say thank you. However, with all the positivity and awesome feedback that I do get, I also do get the negative ones too. And I'm not talking constructive criticism here. I'm referring to the mean, insensitive comments that come from a place of lack. Not of a place of abundance, of there's room for everybody here in the space. It's coming from a place where every artist for themselves, I'm better than you. And it is these comments from negative people, or what I like to call the lack trolls, that really rub me the wrong way. So really beware the lack trolls in your life. And as a creator and a fellow artist, it is very easy to get wrapped up in the negative comments, whether it be comments talking about my appearance, my artwork, my quote-unquote talent, or how to run my art business, which this one is my favorite one by far. And I'm, of course, not saying that any feedback or any constructive criticism is bad. It's not. I welcome it wholeheartedly. And there are ways to give art critiques and constructive feedback, but it is quite another to put down another fellow artist in order to guilt them into getting more free stuff out of them. This is something that has not only happened to me, but to a multitude of other artists that I have seen online. These lack trolls just want to keep taking and taking and taking and never see the full value of what these artists are providing to them. And what is worse is these lack trolls publicly slamming creatives online, expecting special treatment and or cheaper prices so they can get what they want. This type of behavior and treatment is literal poison to us as creatives, because it not only makes us feel that our art and hard work is worthless, but it also gives us the urge to devalue ourselves at the expense of the freeloading black trolls. I have seen people lower the price of their artwork or charge an insanely low amount of money on account of a lack troll giving them so much grief online. I have seen this happen so many times in the art community, it literally makes me sick. And you know what, Queen Bees? The buck stops here. We have to remember that art is an expression and a means to spread a message, our message. It is also a way for lots of artists to earn income to support themselves so they can keep creating more art and keep expressing themselves. And if we as artists continue to devalue our work, lower our prices to keep the lack trolls happy, that will only make you feel expendable, overworked, burnt out, and worst of all, unable to create more art because you just can't freaking afford to do it anymore. And quite unfortunately, I have also seen this happen, where artists are literally working themselves to the bone, thinking that they have to appease these lack trolls. Now, there isn't any way to block these lack trolls or these haters. They will always be there, doing what they do best. But what matters is what you do about it, and that starts with your mentality. Know your worth. There will always be haters, these freeloaders, these lack trolls, these negative people who will try to suck out every bit of creative energy out of you. Most often, for their own benefit, like trying to sell your artwork as their own. True story, by the way. Instead, focus on you. You are so worthy, and you bring years of experience to the table with your artwork. Remember all of those long hours and nights of sketching, doodling, painting, and repainting. And know all those hours did not go to waste. You put your heart and your soul and personal story on canvas, a story that only you can tell. You invested in yourself with time and practice, something that these lack trolls don't do, and they don't even bother doing. You may even have taken a course or two to further improve your skills. All those things prove time and time again that you and your artwork are highly valued. Don't ever try to short sell yourself on this. Do not do that. It's so incredibly frustrating when I hear an artist completely feel that their work is just not appreciated and that they don't feel worthy to be called an artist, that they feel themselves as a failure. Honey, you bring something to the table. You put the hours in. You put the time in. You did something so brave by putting yourself out there. The least you can do is believe in yourself and know that what you are doing is putting you in the right direction. And as I've heard many inspirational people say, there is always going to be a lot of shit before the good happens. So if you're getting a good deal of negativity, most probably you're doing something right. You just have to keep trusting yourself and know your worth. Okay, I know I went on a bit of a rant here, but this is a subject I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time, and I felt it totally appropriate to mention it here for anyone who is struggling with the feelings of failure and unworthiness as an artist. You are in control of how you feel about yourself, and no one else. Know your value, know your worth. Alright, my queen bees, that's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and to subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button, you know what to do, so that you can see more videos like this from me to you in the future. And with that being said, remember to love yourselves and always have fun with your art. I will see you all next time. Bye!